Hey, it's Bob Peskin, Executive Director of the Minnesota Chorale, and I'm speaking via Zoom with two of the Minnesota Chorale singers, soprano Kathy Crosby-Schmidt and tenor Chris Crosby-Schmidt. And these two have been singing together for quite some time. Obviously, they're married, they even have kids, but their singing relationship goes back quite a few years. So, could you guys talk about where you started singing together?
We started singing together in college at Trinity University.
In sunny San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah. And we were in choir together, but I think the place we really got to know each other was in voice studio. And at the time there was this convoluted thing where we didn't know it at the time, but we would each try to save a seat for the other person because we were each dating someone else at the time.
But our studio's teacher was a weekly, he called it master class, where all the students would be together, and there would be the chairs were set in a semicircle, and we would all sit, and two or three of us would sing for the others.
And one of us was always late, so it really was kind of difficult.
And so when I would get there, I would just put my backpack in the chair next to mine and sort of keep it there and chat with people. And then when I'd see Kathy come in, I'd casually take it off. And lo, there was a seat next to me. Oh, how about this one right here?
Yeah.
So,
and funny, but when I was late, somehow there was always a seat next to her.
Just a random coincidence.
Happened, yeah.
That's great. And so you've been making music together ever since then, sounds like.
We have.
Yeah.
And
longer than we've been married, so 30-something years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so did you guys get married right after college, or?
We got married
a couple years after
college.
So she's much younger than I am.
I'm a whole year younger.
So we got married a couple years out of college, and we sang together in choir in college, and we sang in a little jazz, was it a sextet, I guess?
Yeah.
Jazz, doo-wop, and that kind of stuff for fun things. We sang Bob's songs. That's for Patrick Coleman, because he and I were talking about the Bobs at one point.
The Bobs from San Francisco. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
the world's largest trio.
We sang with we sang with SAVE, San Antonio Vocal Arts Ensemble.
Okay.
We did early music.
Yeah, it's a lot of the overlap with the stuff that Ahmed's Border Crossing does. We sang a lot of our overlaps.
That explains why you know so many of the pieces in the repertoire. When sometimes it comes up, Chris will lean over and say, "I know this piece. I've sung it."
We do not sing along at Charles concerts, though. So
sometimes there's opportunities. Yeah. So fast forward, med school residency for Kathy, and then different parts of the country. You wound up here. How long have you lived in the Twin Cities area?
We moved up here in '96 for my residency program. Wow.
Okay.
We arrived in Minnesota on June the 3rd.
Oh.
Which is tomorrow as of this recording.
Yeah.
So it's almost exactly 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's marvelous. And then and baby number one came a couple of years later.
Yeah.
And that baby would be?
That would be Jane. Who's a college graduate of 2020.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, a funny chorale related story, but so I joined chorale in January of 1997, and Jane was born in October of 1997. And I remember going to my mother flew up from Dallas to come and stay with us when Jane came home from the hospital. And in the airport, I ran into Barb Lunderbold.
No way. That's great.
I went to pick up my mother.
It was destined to be. And then, Kathy, you wound up singing in the chorale a little bit later. Just, I assume, the med school residency, all that stuff was pretty overwhelming when you first got started.
Yes, that is a good way of putting it. And then something about being pregnant and having small children while you're working.
Whatever.
A lot. So
So
we took a little hiatus.
Right.
And we started singing. Actually, we started singing with Unity Singers together. Right. That was the back end, and then we couldn't sing in the same, or we didn't feel like we could sing in the same chorale with young children.
Yeah.
So I came later to Minnesota Chorale.
Once the kids were kind of like high school age or old enough
to. When they were old enough to look us in the eye and go, "We don't care. You can be gone at the same time."
Because concert weeks can be tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Concert weeks are quite a commitment.
Yeah.
So.
And and obviously both sing together at Unity Church Unitarian, where Ahmed Ansaldu is the music director.
Yes.
And you guys have been stalwart fans, obviously, of Border Crossing, his ensemble. And I had a chance, I think, to sing with some of the joint projects. Is that true or not yet?
I have not yet. Have you?
No, I was trying to remember.
We've tried really hard to make it work.
There was it one of the naturalization ceremonies that Border Crossing sang at? And we sang at too.
Yeah.
I have sung at the naturalization, but not for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to remember if there.
We've certainly attended concerts, though.
Yeah.
Attended concerts, right. And tell me, can you talk about what singing means for you? Especially in light of right now, our circumstances are that we really kind of can't sing together. You know, we've all tried to do it over Zoom, and it's mostly collapsing into giggles because of the time lag. But, you know, we love seeing each other, whether it's Unity singers or Border Crossing folks or chorale singers. But, you know, what's it like for you when it's going, and what's it like without it right now?
You want to go first?
Sure. I guess for me, singing is my spiritual practice. I think that's the best way to put it. And there's that, other singers know this, there's that magic that comes when you create something of beauty together that you can't do by yourself. And that's the best way I know how to describe it. And I really miss that. I miss that tremendously. But yeah, for me, it really is spiritual practice.
Yeah.
And not, to quote the cliche, it's the singing together is when you manage to create something that's more than the sum of its parts, right? That all the little foibles you fear and hear in your own voice, and everybody's got on that, but somehow it all adds up to something that's greater than just the these each individual voice added one to the other. Somehow it's more than that. There's a cool experience that I can only describe as it feels like somebody else's voice is coming out of my mouth. And it's just the people around me who I hear that, and you're in tune, hopefully, and and you just feel that. And it feels really weird to say that in a post-COVID world, right? That sensation, but it's more of a kind of an emotional thing than a physical thing. But yeah.
What's your work like for the two of you in the pandemic?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Well, I do IT work for the University of Minnesota, and I actually feel like I've had probably one of the easiest transitions to working from home of probably any industry. The team that I work with was already kind of used to working together and collaborating and staring at a screen together. And I just went from doing that side by side to doing it in a series of rectangles across the, the computer, and we already were comfortable with the tools. We already, sort of knew how we wanted to work together. We knew some of the pitfalls. We still struggle with some of those, but yeah. So for me, it's actually been a fairly easy transition.
That's great.
And I still go to work. I'm a pediatrician at Central Peds, and there's been a whole lot of transition, and we've had to do a lot of adjusting very quickly. But now that we're like, I'm at the clinic where we're only seeing well people. And so in a lot of ways, my days are not that different.
Right.
I get up, I'm still working. When I go to work, I typically am there for 11 to 12 hours. Unless I have chorale rehearsal. That's on Mondays. And I leave early and come back the next morning.
Right.
But it's really a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to support families, to talk to kids about how this affects them and their losses, what different people have lost by having school suddenly pulled away from them, whether they're seniors or they're kindergartners. So it's, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to work with families in that way. We also do, it's been different because like everybody, we're doing telemedicine too. And actually it's kind of exciting because there are times when it is really great. And I think it's helpful for families. And so figuring out how that works well and what we might be able to keep from that when all this is over, I don't think it's going to go away, right?
Yeah.
Unless insurance refuses to pay for it. So that's kind of exciting too, figuring out how to take care of people in a way that looks different.
Yeah. Great. Well, it's been great to speak with both of you. Just wondering if you have any parting words of wisdom or advice for chorale singers, chorale audiences, chorale friends that might be listening to this.
Boy, I hope y'all are singing more than I am. I feel nothing but rusty whenever I try. So
that's humming. Can we all get together and hum?
Droplet reduction. Yeah.
Right.
It's the great new trend in the arts. Humming choruses.
No, I sure do miss people though.
Yeah.
I cannot wait until we get back together.
However long it takes, but
it'll happen.
Yeah.
You just got to be patient.
Great. Okay. Thanks, you two. Great to talk with you.
Good to talk with you too, Bob.